I'm the same point, it's like another day.
For me, it's, I'll get up, go to work, just like I'll be here. I just gave them out. Just another. I forgot those.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to call to order the Criminal Justice and Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee meeting for June 25th. First order of business is to approve the minutes of our prior meeting. Have a motion. Supervisor Conover, second Supervisor Gillian. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carry. Privilege of the floor. Any comments by anyone? All right. Seeing none, we'll move in to just two items. I would ask you, if you go to the podium to speak, please speak directly into the mic so that not only us can hear you, but those that may be watching can hear you. And if there's any comments from non-committee members, they'll be acknowledged during privilege of the floor, not during the committee. All right. The first office today is probation agenda. We've got representative probation with us. There's two requests. The first is to transfer funds from the probation budget salaries regular to the overtime salary in the amount of $2,000 to cover future overtime costs. Any additional explanation on that?
Well, I mean, basically our job with probation is very unpredictable, especially with the after hours situations that we find ourselves in with our juvenile justice mostly and looking for detention beds. That's always been a struggle, more so as of recent. A lot of times those struggles end up happening on a Friday, 4 o'clock. A lot of other struggles that we have with our probation population or just emergencies that come up late in the day. It's become somewhat of a difficult situation when it comes to the payroll and flex time. Our emphasis is always to utilize flex time when we can, but at the end of a pay period on a Friday, it's almost impossible for our staff to utilize that flex time. So our solution is to transfer a small amount of money that we have already budgeted from the salaries to cover those costs.
All right, motion to move this request forward. Supervisor Conover, second Supervisor Etu. Any questions? Supervisor Driscoll, question?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We've heard the past couple of months about the renewal of the agreement with the ankle monitors. Going forward, do you see that may help? I certainly think that the additional time is warranted and necessary, but going forward, do you see that as being maybe a deterrent to more overtime?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the ankle monitors, we will continue to utilize, and that's usually the first recourse that we like to use, but in some situations,
Sure.
it's inevitable and,
Yeah.
and we're subject to the decision of the judges. on
Right.
What they want us to do, and we always put out the ankle monitor for sure.
Right. Thanks.
All right, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second request is to apply for 13A, which I believe is alternate to incarceration, excuse me. Classification funding from New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services in the amount of $13,140 for the term July 1, 24 through June 30th of 2025. Go ahead.
Basically, it's the same grant application that we make every year. It covers our pretrial services. It's income that we receive from the state. It's not a lot of money, but it's still income, and it does cover the cost of our pretrial, which is utilized quite heavily, especially in lieu of a lot of law changes, as I'm sure all of you are aware.
All right, thank you. There is backup in your packet if you need any more information on that. I'll accept the motion to move this forward. Supervisor Strainer, second Supervisor Etu. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good day, everybody.
We have the sheriff with us today. Sheriff. We have a request and a few discussion items. So the first request is to amend the county budget to transfer $16,500 remaining in the STOP DWI program grant from fiscal year 23 to fiscal year 24.
Yes, this is a simple request. We have funding remaining in the budget from the grant from 2023. He would like to move it into 2024 so we can utilize it.
Great. Motion to move this forward. Supervisor Conover, second Supervisor Gillian. All, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Sheriff, you got three
Mr.
discussion items. I'll let
Chairman.
you just go
Mr.
right
Chairman.
through them.
Yes.
Just,
Oh, hang on one second.
yeah, just a comment, just for some of the newer members that what happens in a fiscal year, at the end of a fiscal year is that if we don't reprogram the dollars, they fall to the fund balance. So that's why they come back to us with funding that goes beyond from one fiscal year into the next.
Okay. Sheriff, go right ahead.
Yes. We've had discussions in years past about grants, the sheriff's office, and questions about whether or not we apply. I want to touch base on one grant. It's a technology grant. Lieutenant Rob Smith did an outstanding job in applying for a grant to improve technology within our sheriff's office. And we received an award for $751,953 for this grant. We've been very patient. Our records management system, I know in meetings you hear from department heads, antiquated, end of life, and it's something that we all face trying to figure out how to navigate this. Our public safety, the police officers' records management system is very antiquated. It's outdated, and we've been in need of a replacement for several years. We've been doing some research, and the cost is just under to over $1 million, depending on what software systems we're looking at. And we intend to utilize the vast majority of this funding for a new records management system. I will be coming forward in the future, hopefully before the end of the year, with a proposal for an agreement. We are looking at a couple vendors and doing our homework before we head in that direction. Our operating systems for our computers are also outdated. We intend to use that for the replacement and updates of our operating systems, as well as a new ID machine. So I need to publicly give recognition and kudos to Lieutenant Rob Smith for this application. It's a significant award. I mentioned in line number 2, it's a Bureau of Justice Administration grant, and we received an award for $97,000. This is a patrol officer that applied for this grant for tactical equipment for our sheriff's office. Since I provided this agenda to the committee, he's applied for and received another award for $65,000. So we will be utilizing this funding for the replacement of tactical body armor for our emergency response team. Again, another significant item. I say it to this group often, what we do is very expensive. We cannot compromise. And I just wanted you to be aware, we work very diligently to try to do what we can, to ask responsibly, to take our time with our asks, knowing that they're big. And again, holding off, being patient, this paid off for us, this year and these 3 grants. I wanted to touch base. We're coming into our budget season, and we're going to be meeting here very soon. And I just wanted to touch base again about our fleet, our vessel fleet, and funding. We've been asking for a number of years. The board was very generous last year, and they provided funding. We were able to purchase one. If you drive around the ring road, you've seen it parked out by the backside of our garage. Beautiful vessel. And it seems like it's of substantial size, but that's actually a small vessel. That's a vessel that we use on our smaller bodies of water, the river. And we are still very much in need of new, larger vessels to patrol Lake George, Brant Lake, our big waterways. We're looking at to purchase a new vessel. If we decided today that we were going to buy a new boat, we would order it, and it's not going to see water until summer of next year. We realize that we have 4 that we need to replace, and they are currently right around $450, closing on $500,000 each. We know we're not going to come to the board and ask for 4 new vessels. We respectfully ask every year. Our hope is that maybe through the budget process, we could start a reserve and start putting some money into a reserve that will carry year to year until we reach the threshold where we can buy a new vessel. We buy one, and then we replenish the reserve, and we work forward to a point where maybe 10 years from now, our fleet is where it should be. So it's going to take us some time. If people inquire with you, it's on our radar. We're working towards it, and we hope to have a good sound plan as we get to the end of the budget in 2024 or 2025. I also wanted to share, we did select, I know it was something that we asked for earlier on this year. We've made our selection for our reentry specialist position in the correctional facility. And this young lady is going to be dropping off her final application to us this afternoon. and should be getting started with us very soon. And I'm confident that we're going to have some very positive reports to provide to the board as this year progresses. That's it for me, Your Sheriff.
All right. Questions for the sheriff on any of these discussion items? Seeing none. Sheriff, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
continued leadership and the staff for applying and being
Just
awarded.
one quick, I think it was last week, I did see, one of the, patrol officers, interviewed, on Lake George.
Yes.
And that was a nice interview, and it certainly, it was a lengthy interview too, so it kind of spoke to the work, you know,
I've
and the
mentioned it.
complex work that we do on the lake. you know.
Absolutely. I mentioned it, and for those of you who are not out on the lake or our waterways, when I first started this job, the patrols on the lake, it was really quality of life, slowing down vessels in the bays, making sure people had their PFDs, proper equipment. Our officers now are facing real police type calls for service, drugs, domestics, BWIs on our waterways. So everything that's occurring on land is occurring on the water, and we just need to make sure that they are properly trained and equipped. And we're all, I think, on the same page and working in a really good direction.
Thank you.
Anything else for the sheriff? Sheriff, thank you for joining us.
Have a great day.
All right, we'll move to public defender. We've got three requests and one discussion item. Without objection, I'd like to take care of the first request and then combine the second and the third. First one is to decrease the salary of a vacant assistant public defender position.
Yeah, so request one is vacant position, three, like to decrease that salary.
All right, motion to move this forward. Supervisor Driscoll, second Supervisor Strainer. Any questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll combine the second and the third. That's to create a new position as Assistant Public Defender 10, and then the next one is to amend the county budget that allows for that. Go ahead.
So our second Harrell Heron contract has gone into effect as of April 1st. We're waiting for final signatures, but to have a letter from the state indicating we are authorized to start spending those funds and getting reimbursed. So within that funding, there is another position, another attorney position. I did make a mistake. I was corrected yesterday by HR. That should actually be number 13. We do have a placeholder 10 in our position budgeting. So the next attorney position that we would create is number 13.
All right, motion to move items number 2 and 3 forward. Supervisor Strainer, second Supervisor E2. Any questions? Discussion items? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have one discussion item that's introduce a new first assistant public defender.
I'd like to make a request to table that to next month. Unfortunately, Attorney Canale and Attorney Coleman were unable to make it today. They had a hearing moved from yesterday to this morning.
All right. Well,
So
hopefully,
they would both like to be here. for
Okay.
the fact.
anything else for us?
That is it.
All right, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Move to privilege of the floor. Any items from the committee? Anyone else? Seeing none, accept the motion to adjourn. Supervisor Strainer, second Supervisor E2, any discussion on the adjournment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.